Queen Lysera stood at the edge of the grand balcony, gazing across the city of Virelia. Its towers sparkled with soft blue lights that hummed with energy, and floating gardens glimmered in the evening air. The capital was alive with excitement. Today was not just any day. It was the day she would marry a human, the ambassador from a distant planet called Earth. The humans were a young species in the galactic community. Unlike the Virelians, they did not have centuries of advanced technology or centuries-old empires. They were simple, clever, and, from what Lysera had observed, surprisingly adaptable. And among them, one man had captured her curiosity: Ethan Drake. Ethan stood among the guests, a quiet presence in a room filled with Virelian nobles, dignitaries, and high-ranking officials. He was not tall, nor did he have the kind of imposing presence that aliens usually respected, but there was something different about him, a calm confidence, a careful attentiveness to the people around him, and a way of listening that made everyone feel valued. Lysera's attendants adjusted her ceremonial robes and offered soft reassurances. "Your Majesty," one said, "the guests are impressed by the human's manners. He is unlike any other ambassador we have seen." Lysera smiled faintly. "He seems ordinary," she said. "Yet there is a quiet strength in him. I cannot yet say why, but I feel it." The ceremony hall was vast, with walls of translucent crystal that shimmered with captured sunlight. Floating orbs cast golden light over the assembled guests. Humans, aliens, and representatives from other worlds were all present, their attention focused on the center stage. Ethan approached, his steps careful but unshakable. He wore a formal tunic that fit Earth fashion, simple lines, no glitter or excess. To most of the Virelian nobles he seemed modest, almost plain. But Lysera knew humans were capable of surprising things. She had read reports of their rapid problem-solving, creativity, and resilience. Still, nothing had prepared her for the experience of meeting one in person, let alone marrying him. "Your Majesty," Ethan said, bowing respectfully. His voice was calm, steady, and carried an undertone of quiet assurance. "I am honored to stand here with you today." Lysera regarded him with curiosity. "And I am honored to share this day with you, Ambassador. You have shown much respect for my people and our customs. That is rare for a newcomer," he smiled faintly. "I only wish to learn, not to change what is already beautiful." The ceremony began, with the Virelian priests chanting melodies that resonated in the hearts of all who listened. Lysera felt a gentle warmth spreading through her chest, a sense of peace she had not felt in years of ruling. And when Ethan placed his hand lightly over hers, she felt a strange calm settle over her, a feeling of trust, even though she had only known him for a short time. As the words of commitment were exchanged, Lysera watched Ethan closely. He did not boast, he did not seek attention, yet every gesture was precise, considerate, and sincere. Even in the middle of a room filled with powerful aliens, he remained humble, yet unshakably present. When the final chant ended, Lysera spoke her vows, her voice steady, but filled with emotion. "I, Lysera, Queen of Virelia, take you, Ethan Drake, as my partner. I do not know what the future holds, but I trust in your wisdom, your heart, and your courage." Ethan's response was simple, yet profound. "I, Ethan Drake, take you, Queen Lysera, as my partner. I will stand with you, learn from you, and do all I can to protect and honor you and your people." A cheer went up from the gathered guests. Flowers floated gently through the air, petals glowing softly as they landed around the newlyweds. Lysera looked at Ethan, and for the first time she allowed herself to wonder, is this human really as ordinary as he seems? The reception began soon after. Tables groaned with exotic foods from every corner of Virelia. Guests laughed, danced, and shared stories. Ethan moved quietly among them, talking with Virelian nobles, listening carefully, and offering small suggestions that seemed simple but thoughtful. Lysera noticed how aliens with centuries of experience in politics and diplomacy would lean toward him, seeking his opinion, even on matters he did not have years of training in, and each time Ethan gave answers that were clever, balanced, and surprisingly effective. One elder Virelian, a tall being with shimmering skin and eyes like molten gold, leaned toward Lysera. "Your Majesty," he said quietly, "this human, he is remarkable. He is still young, yet his insight is beyond what many of us have achieved in decades. Lysra only smiled faintly. He seems modest. Perhaps he is still holding something back. Meanwhile, Ethan quietly noticed a small problem with the layout of the celebration hall. One of the floating light orbs was wobbling slightly, and if it fell, it could injure guests. Without causing panic, he adjusted its trajectory using his human intuition and quick thinking. No one noticed the intervention, but the potential disaster was avoided. Later, as the evening progressed, Lysra and Ethan found a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The sky was a swirl of stars and floating lanterns drifted past, reflecting in the calm waters below. "You are very different from what I expected," Lysra said softly. "Most humans I read about, they are bold, brash, loud. You are neither. You are calm, patient, and observant." Ethan chuckled. "Perhaps that is what humans learn when they grow in a world full of challenges. We adapt, we survive. But we also learn to observe, to understand before acting." Lysra studied him. "And yet, I feel there is more to you than what I see. A strength hidden beneath this calm. I cannot yet grasp it." Ethan's gaze did not waver. "Perhaps. Or perhaps humans are just ordinary people who have learned to act when the moment truly matters." The Queen could not decide if he was modest or if he truly was hiding something. Either way, she felt a sense of security being near him. There was no arrogance, no desire for attention, just presence, calm, and awareness. As the night ended, Lysra returned to her private chambers. She looked at the stars, thinking about the man she had married. To the world, he was a simple human, polite and unassuming. But to her, he carried an aura of quiet strength, a hidden depth she could not yet define. She smiled to herself. Perhaps she thought she had underestimated the human race. Perhaps they were far more remarkable than the galaxy realized. Meanwhile, in a small corner of the palace, Ethan sat quietly, reviewing the day's events in his mind. He had learned much about Virelian culture, their customs and their technology. He had observed the weaknesses and strengths of the palace defenses, the behavior of the nobles and the patterns of their ceremonial systems. To him, the day had been joyful, but it had also been a subtle test. He had shown humility, patience, and respect, and yet he had also quietly demonstrated his awareness and understanding of the world around him. He knew that the aliens saw him as ordinary, but that perception could change quickly if circumstances required. Ethan looked at the night sky and thought of Earth, his home. A small planet, still young in galactic terms, yet full of humans who had survived disasters, wars, and natural challenges over millennia. That resilience, that unpredictability, and that ability to adapt, it was part of his nature. And perhaps someday soon, the aliens of Virelia would see it too. For now, though, he was just a humble man, married to a queen, learning her world while quietly preparing for the future. The morning sun rose over the city of Virelia, painting the towers in soft golden light. Queen Lysra walked through the palace gardens, the faint hum of energy from the floating plants surrounding her like a gentle music. The air smelled of blossoms, sweet and alien and yet comforting. Beside her walked Ethan, his hands clasped behind his back as he observed everything with quiet attention. "Your Majesty," Ethan said, his voice calm. "The gardens are beautiful. They feel alive in a way Earth gardens never do." Lysra smiled. "They are alive, Ethan. Every plant, every light, every stone is carefully maintained by our energy systems. They respond to touch, sound, and even mood. It is our way of showing harmony with life." Ethan nodded. "It is remarkable. It also teaches patience. Life is not just surviving, it is balance, observation, care." Lysra looked at him with curiosity. "You speak wisely for someone so new to our world." He shrugged lightly. "Perhaps wisdom comes from noticing what others overlook." Their conversation was interrupted by the palace alert system, a soft, urgent chime that vibrated through the air. The sky above Virelia flickered with a holographic display, showing a distant star system marked in red. Lysra's brow furrowed. "Report." A Virelian officer, tall and shimmering like molten silver, bowed quickly. "Your Majesty, scouts have detected Kryvan ships near the border of our system. They are preparing to move. Intelligence suggests a potential invasion." Lysra's stomach tightened. The Kryvans were a ruthless species. They had conquered many worlds, showing no mercy, and leaving entire civilizations in ruins. Virelia had been preparing for centuries, Yet their intelligence about Crivens was limited. They were unpredictable and merciless. Ethan remained calm, though his mind worked quickly. "Do we know the size of their fleet?" he asked. The officer hesitated. "Not precisely, Ambassador. Our sensors detected several warships, but the Crivens are elusive. They may have more hidden beyond our detection." Lysera studied Ethan. "What do you think we should do?" Ethan's gaze was steady. "Observe first. Predict their moves. Gather all available information. Then act with a strategy that uses what we know against what they cannot anticipate." The council meeting began in the main hall, a massive chamber of crystal and light. Virelian generals and advisors spoke rapidly, suggesting options. Some called for surrender, others for a show of overwhelming force. The tension in the room was thick, the air buzzing with uncertainty. Ethan listened quietly, occasionally nodding, occasionally asking a clarifying question. Each time he spoke, his words were simple, yet they made sense in ways others had not considered. "If you deploy all your forces at once, you risk exhaustion," he said softly. "But if we divide our fleet strategically using decoys and rapid movement, we can delay them and force them to reveal their numbers. Then we can strike decisively." The generals looked at him, some skeptical, some intrigued. It was unusual for a human, an outsider, to offer such practical strategy. Yet his calm reasoning could not be ignored. Lysera observed him carefully. "Your plan requires timing, precision, and trust. Can our forces execute such coordination?" Ethan smiled faintly. "They can. They just need clear instructions and a leader who can adapt in real time. I can help coordinate," a murmur spread through the council. To see a human speak with such authority, despite being an outsider, was unusual. Yet there was a logic to his words, a practicality that even Virelian veterans respected. Later, Ethan walked through the city streets with Lysera. They watched Virelians preparing defenses, reinforcing energy shields, and organizing patrols. Citizens went about their day unaware of the looming danger, yet their movements were orderly and calm. "Do you think the Crivens will attack soon?" Lysera asked quietly. Ethan studied the sky. "It is difficult to say. The Crivens are not predictable, but we can prepare for their first move and use it to our advantage." Lysera frowned. "Humans are not known for long-term patience. Yet you seem different." Ethan chuckled lightly. "Perhaps humans are not as reckless as you think. We learn quickly. We adapt faster than many species expect. We survive by observing, by noticing patterns others miss, and by acting decisively when the moment comes." She watched him in silence. He spoke calmly, almost modestly, but his words carried weight. There was a quiet confidence in him, an awareness that the Queen had begun to notice but could not yet fully understand. The first warning came 2 days later. Scouts reported a Crivan strike team approaching a remote outpost near Virelia's outer boundary. Lysera called the council together immediately. "This is our chance to see their approach," Ethan said calmly. "If we respond cleverly, we can gauge their tactics and strength without risking too much." The generals exchanged uneasy glances. Many of them wanted to send overwhelming force immediately. Ethan shook his head. "No, patience. We observe, we respond strategically. The Crivens expect panic. We must not give them what they want." Lysera felt a surge of admiration for him. This human, whom she had thought humble and ordinary, seemed to understand the subtle art of strategy better than many of her own advisors. The defense of the outpost was set. Ethan suggested small changes to patrol routes, early warning signals, and energy shield deployment. The Virelians implemented his suggestions, some skeptically, some hesitantly. When the Crivens arrived, the humans' adjustments proved crucial. The alien invaders expected a straightforward defense, but instead, they encountered unexpected maneuvers and traps. The Crivens were forced to retreat, suffering minor losses. The council erupted in surprise and relief. "How did he know?" a general whispered. "A human predicting Crivens?" Lysera did not answer. She only watched Ethan, who remained quiet, observing the aftermath with calm detachment. That evening, Lysera and Ethan walked through the palace balcony, looking at the stars again. The city below was calm, yet the shadow of danger lingered. "You are very different from what I expected, Ethan," Lysera said softly. "Most humans I read about, they are simple, clever, but often reckless. You are patient, thoughtful, and observant." Ethan smiled faintly. Perhaps it is because humans have learned to survive in harsh conditions. We are young compared to Virelia, yet we have endured disasters, wars, and scarcity. We adapt, we learn, we act when necessary. Lysera studied him in silence. I sense there is more to you than what I see. Not just strategy, but strength. I cannot yet understand it fully. Ethan's gaze did not waver. Strength can take many forms, Your Majesty. Physical, mental, emotional. Sometimes it is hidden until the moment demands it. Lysera nodded slowly. Then I suppose we will see soon enough. In the following days, Ethan continued to observe and advise quietly. He learned about the Virelian defense systems, the patterns of patrols, and the technology that powered the city. He asked questions, made suggestions, and carefully noted everything. To outsiders, he seemed humble, even ordinary. But Lysera began to notice a subtle brilliance in his actions, an ability to anticipate problems before they arose and solve them with calm efficiency. Meanwhile, the Crivens were watching. Their scouts reported a strange anomaly, a human, unarmed and seemingly ordinary, influencing Virelian defense in ways that slowed their plans and made attacks less effective. The Crivens dismissed it at first. Humans were small and weak after all. Yet a creeping unease grew among their commanders. Lysera sensed the tension as well. She realized that the man she married, this human who appeared so unremarkable, was quietly preparing for a storm that no one else fully understood. One evening, as the twin moons rose above Virelia, Lysera and Ethan sat in the royal observatory. The holographic maps of the Crivan fleets flickered above them, showing their movements in real time. "You have been quiet," Lysera said. "Do you not fear them?" Ethan shook his head. "Fear is useful only if it makes you prepare. I do not fear. I observe, I learn, I act when necessary. That is what humans do best." Lysera studied him, a mixture of curiosity and awe in her eyes. "Then I suppose I underestimated you," Ethan smiled faintly. "Perhaps. Or perhaps the galaxy has underestimated humanity." The night deepened and the stars above Virelia glimmered silently. Somewhere beyond, the Crivens prepared their next move, unaware that the humans and their queen were already ready, quietly, patiently, and intelligently, to meet them. For the first time, Lysera felt a new sense of hope. Perhaps the galaxy was about to witness something it had never expected. Humans, small and young, standing tall among the stars. The morning sun barely pierced the thick clouds over Virelia's outer defenses. Scouts had reported Criven ships approaching faster than anticipated. The city's alarm systems hummed with urgency. Queen Lysera walked briskly through the command center, her robes flowing behind her, her mind racing. Beside her, Ethan moved calmly, observing the holographic displays of the Criven fleet with quiet concentration. "Your Majesty," Ethan said softly, "their ships are not flying in standard formation. It is irregular but deliberate. They are testing our response." Lysera glanced at him, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. "How can you tell?" Ethan's gaze did not waver. "Patterns are never perfect. The Crivens are experienced, but their variations reveal hesitation or assumption. They expect us to panic. We will not give them that advantage." Lysera could only nod. There was something in the human's calm demeanor that inspired confidence. Even now, she felt a quiet hope stirring inside her. The Criven fleet approached, massive and intimidating, dark warships glinting with energy weapons. Alarms blared as Virelian defense forces scrambled into position. Generals shouted orders, their wings of energy flaring with urgency. Yet Ethan remained composed, analyzing the situation as if it were a complex puzzle rather than a life-and-death crisis. "Divide our forces into 3 squads," he instructed. "One group will appear as the main fleet, another will flank through the outer asteroids, and the third will act as a decoy, drawing their attention. Timing is crucial. Synchronization is the key." The Virelian generals exchanged uneasy glances. "A human directing our fleets," one murmured. "This is audacious." Ethan's voice was calm, almost gentle. "It is audacious because it works." The first Criven attack wave hit within minutes. Energy beams scorched the outer defenses and alarms screamed. Virelian forces responded with trained precision, but confusion threatened to spread. Ethan stepped forward, his eyes scanning the battle hologram. He gave precise, short commands. "Adjust shields here, reroute power there, redirect patrols to intercept." His timing was impeccable. Where other commanders hesitated, Ethan acted decisively, predicting Kryvan movements with uncanny accuracy. From the observation balcony, Queen Lysera watched in awe. She had seen him offer advice, make minor adjustments, but this was different. Now the human was orchestrating an entire planetary defense. Every movement he suggested minimized damage, preserved forces, and countered enemy strategies before they fully unfolded. A Virelian general turned to Lysera, voice trembling. "Your Majesty, he is extraordinary. No one, not even our most seasoned officers, could respond this quickly. He sees the battlefield differently." Lysera's eyes did not leave Ethan. "It seems we have underestimated humans," she said softly. In the skies above, Kryvan ships maneuvered aggressively. One massive warship broke through the outer defenses, heading straight for Virelia's energy core. Panic flickered among the defense teams. "Divert the interceptors," Ethan commanded. "Do not try to destroy it immediately. Lead it through the asteroid belt. Use the terrain against them. It is predictable if you know how they think." Lysera's heart raced. The generals looked skeptical, but Ethan's calm authority left no room for argument. The plan was executed flawlessly. The Kryvan ship wove through the asteroids, taking damage from natural collisions and energy deflections. Within moments it was forced to retreat, its crew in chaos. Even the Virelian veterans stared in disbelief. The human suggestions were unconventional yet perfectly effective. "Your Majesty," Ethan said quietly, "the key is to remain unpredictable. Kryvans assume we will act by the book. We act outside it, and they cannot anticipate our moves." Lysera felt a deep respect building inside her. This man, whom she had thought simple, was demonstrating something far beyond ordinary human capability. She could sense a power in him that was both subtle and immense, the power of intellect, intuition, and courage combined. The Kryvans launched a second wave, larger and more aggressive than the first. Ethan's calm did not waver. He issued rapid commands, adjusting shields, coordinating energy beams, and predicting enemy attacks before they happened. Where the Virelian generals hesitated, he acted decisively. Where their soldiers panicked, his presence steadied them. Lysera could see the fear and awe in her people's eyes. A human, a single human, was guiding them through a battle that could have destroyed their city. At one point, a massive Kryvan fighter broke through the defense perimeter, heading straight for the palace. Alarm screamed. Soldiers were frozen in indecision. Ethan moved swiftly. He calculated the fighter's trajectory, predicted its evasive maneuvers, and sent a squadron to intercept. The fighter was neutralized before it could reach the palace. Lysera's heart pounded. She had thought she married a humble man, gentle and unassuming. But now she saw the truth. Ethan was a force of nature, not through raw power, but through intellect, courage, and an understanding of chaos that none of her people could match. After hours of relentless attack, the Kryvan forces began to retreat. The Virelian defense had held, and the outer systems were secure. Soldiers cheered, exhausted but exhilarated. Generals and officials approached Ethan, offering thanks, admiration, and even awe. "Ambassador, we underestimated you," one said. "Your actions saved countless lives." Ethan nodded, modest as ever. "I only did what was necessary. The real credit goes to your people. They followed the plan and acted bravely." Lysera stepped forward, her eyes shining with a mixture of relief and wonder. "Ethan, I did not expect this. I thought you were ordinary, but now I see you are far more than anyone could imagine." Ethan turned to her, expression calm but sincere. "I am just human, Your Majesty. But humans have a strange ability to survive and adapt. We are underestimated often because we seem small, weak, or ordinary. But when the moment comes, we act." Lysera studied him in silence. The man she had married, the humble ambassador, had just demonstrated brilliance, calm, and courage that rivaled the greatest minds of Virelia. And yet he did it quietly, without boasting, without seeking attention. That night the palace was alive with celebration. The city had survived, and the queen walked through the streets alongside Ethan, observing the people cheering for the defense forces. Yet even in the midst of joy, she could not stop thinking about the human beside her. "You are remarkable," she said quietly, as they walked along a bridge that floated above the city. "I have never seen anyone, alien or human, act the way you did today. You are extraordinary." Ethan smiled faintly. as if the compliment amused him more than it pleased him. I did what was needed. That is all. Lysera shook her head. No, that was more than that. You are brilliant, calm, and fearless in ways I cannot fully comprehend. I thought I married a humble man, but today I saw your true power. He looked at her, expression calm yet with a depth that unsettled and inspired her at the same time. Power takes many forms, Your Majesty. Some show it openly, some like humans show it only when necessary. What you witnessed today is only part of what we are capable of. Lysera felt a shiver of awe. She had married a man who seemed ordinary, humble, and unassuming. But that image was only a mask. Beneath it lay a mind and spirit capable of brilliance, courage, and subtle power that even Virelia had never seen before. The next morning, the council reconvened to assess the battle. Ethan remained quiet, answering questions with precision, modesty, and clarity. The generals and nobles began to look at him differently, not just as a human ambassador, but as a strategist, a thinker, and perhaps even a leader. Lysera watched him from her seat. She realized something profound. This human, this simple man she had married, was capable of extraordinary things, and the galaxy had no idea what humans were truly capable of. As the day ended, Ethan stood on the balcony once again, looking at the stars. Lysera joined him, her hand brushing his. You have shown me something I did not expect, she said softly. Something I did not know humans could possess. Ethan's gaze remained on the distant stars. Perhaps humanity is underestimated because it is young, because it is small, because it does not yet have fleets of warships or ancient technology. But the truth is, we survive, we adapt, and when the moment comes, we act. That is our strength. Lysera felt a deep sense of awe, respect, and curiosity. She had thought she married a humble man, but now she understood. Ethan Drake was not just a human, he was the embodiment of human potential. Quiet, unassuming, yet powerful in ways that could shape the fate of worlds. The stars above Virelia glimmered silently, bearing witness to a quiet truth. A humble human had just changed the course of a planet's history. And this was only the beginning. The palace of Virelia was quieter than usual the morning after the first Krivan attack. The street still buzzed with the aftermath, with repairs underway and soldiers inspecting the outer defenses. Queen Lysera walked alongside Ethan as they observed the activity from a high balcony. The city below was calm, but the threat of the Krivans lingered like a shadow. Your Majesty, Ethan said softly, we cannot let them think their first attack failed by chance. They will return stronger and smarter. Preparation is essential. Lysera nodded. I trust you. But the Council? Some of them still doubt your abilities. They are wary of humans leading our strategies. Ethan's calm gaze met hers. Let them doubt. We will show them the truth through results, not words. The Council convened in the main chamber. The air hummed with energy as holographic maps of Virelia and the surrounding star systems floated above the central table. Generals, scientists, and advisors leaned over the maps, murmuring concerns and debating strategies. Ethan remained quiet at first, listening. Every word spoken by the Virelian leaders was absorbed and analyzed. He made mental notes of their tendencies, the strengths of their fleets, and the weaknesses of their defenses. When he spoke, it was concise, clear, and direct. We cannot rely on standard defenses alone, Ethan said. The Krivans are experienced at predicting patterns. If we prepare in predictable ways, we will lose. We must combine our technology with unconventional tactics, using intelligence, speed, and misdirection. One general frowned. Unconventional tactics? You mean risking our forces on untested strategies suggested by a human? Ethan smiled faintly. Unconventional does not mean untested. It means using creativity where others see only procedure. Humans are skilled at improvisation. We act when others hesitate. Lysera watched the council closely. She could see doubt in some faces, but admiration in others. What no one realized fully yet was that Ethan's suggestions were not just clever, they were strategically flawless. First, he continued, we reinforce the outer energy shields, but not evenly. Certain points will appear weak intentionally. We bait the Krivans into attacking where we can trap them. Second, we reorganize patrols into unpredictable patterns. Third, we prepare rapid response teams to counter unexpected moves. The generals exchanged uneasy glances. And the civilians? One asked. We cannot risk them in untested maneuvers. Ethan nodded. Civilians are safe? These tactics involve only our defense forces in the battlefield. The city remains protected, but we force the Krivans into positions where their own strategy becomes their weakness. Lysira's eyes shone. You are asking a lot from our people, yet you speak with calm certainty. I trust you, Ethan. They must too. The council reluctantly agreed to implement the plan. Soldiers were briefed, energy shields recalibrated, and fleets moved according to Ethan's instructions. The palace hummed with activity as preparations accelerated. That evening, Lysira and Ethan walked in the palace gardens. The floating lights glimmered softly, and the gentle hum of energy plants filled the air. You are remarkable, Lysira said quietly, not just in strategy but in leadership. You inspire confidence, calm, and trust without demanding it. I have never seen anyone like you. Ethan's expression was calm, but there was a faint warmth in his eyes. Your Majesty, leadership is not about power or titles. It is about understanding people, knowing when to act, and being willing to take responsibility. Humans learn this over generations, surviving disasters, wars, and scarcity. It is in our nature. Lysira studied him, feeling awe and respect. And yet you remain humble. You never seek praise. You act because it is necessary. He shrugged lightly. Necessity does not need recognition. Only results matter. The Krivans will not respect titles. They respect effectiveness. That is all that counts. The following day, scouts reported renewed Krivan activity near the outer asteroid belt. This time, the fleet was larger, their ships more heavily armed. Lysira called Ethan immediately. They are testing again, Ethan said, analyzing the holographic display. They expect us to react with fear or force. We will act differently. We will force them into a trap using speed, misdirection, and precision. Lysira could see the calm authority in his posture. Where others panicked, he remained steady, quietly calculating every move. The human's ability to adapt, anticipate, and act decisively shone like a beacon among the aliens who often relied on centuries-old routines. The battle began. The Krivan fleet entered the asteroid belt, expecting a straightforward defense, but Ethan's plan unfolded flawlessly. Decoy fleets drew part of the Krivan's forces, while the main fleet struck from unexpected angles. Energy shields shifted unpredictably. Interceptors moved in patterns designed to confuse, and hidden mines neutralized the enemy's larger warships. Lysira watched in awe. The Council's generals had never seen such coordination. Soldiers followed Ethan's instructions with precision, inspired by the calm certainty in his voice and the clarity of his commands. At one point, a massive Krivan cruiser attempted to break through the city's main defenses. Panic spread among the younger Virelian officers. Ethan stepped forward, issuing rapid, clear commands. Using human intuition, he anticipated the ship's evasive maneuvers and orchestrated a counterattack that disabled the cruiser without loss of life. The Queen could hardly contain her amazement. The human she had married, whom she once thought ordinary, was now the central figure in Virelia's defense, a strategist, leader, and protector. After the battle, the Krivans retreated. Virelia had held not through brute strength but through intelligence, creativity, and the quiet brilliance of one human mind. Soldiers cheered, generals bowed, and even the council members who had doubted Ethan now approached him with awe and respect. You have proven yourself beyond doubt, one general admitted. A human leading our defense. I never thought I would see the day. Ethan shook his head modestly. I only did what was necessary. Your people executed brilliantly. That is the true strength of Virelia. Lysira approached him, her eyes filled with admiration. Ethan, today I have seen your true power. It is not just intelligence, not just courage. It is your ability to inspire, to act decisively, and to think beyond what others see. You are extraordinary. Ethan looked at her, calm yet serious. Your Majesty, humans are underestimated because we seem ordinary. But when the moment demands, we reveal our true nature. This is only the beginning. The Queen realized the truth. She had married a man whose abilities, patience, and intelligence could rival the most advanced beings in the galaxy. She felt respect, awe, and even a sense of pride. In the following days, Ethan continued to advise the Council, improving defenses, refining strategies, and quietly teaching the Virelian generals new ways of thinking. His approach combined careful observation, improvisation, and creative problem-solving, a combination unfamiliar to the aliens, yet devastatingly effective. Lysera watched him closely. Each day she saw more of his depth, his ability to assess situations calmly, to predict outcomes, and to act with precision. She realized that humans, though young in the galactic hierarchy, had something unique, a combination of adaptability, intuition, and courage that even the most advanced civilizations underestimated. One evening, as the twin moons rose over Virelia, Lysera joined Ethan in the palace observatory. Holographic maps of the Kryvan positions glimmered above them. "You have changed everything," she said softly. "Not just the battle, not just the council, but my understanding of humans. I see now that we have underestimated your species for far too long." Ethan smiled faintly. "We are underestimated often. It is part of who we are, but we survive, we adapt, and we act when the moment comes. That is our strength." Lysera studied him, awe and respect filling her heart. "And yet you remain humble, quiet, and unassuming. I have never seen anyone like you, Ethan. You are not just remarkable, you are extraordinary in ways I cannot fully understand." He looked at her, calm and steady. "Your Majesty, extraordinary is not a goal. It is a necessity when circumstances demand it. Humanity has survived by being adaptable, by observing and by acting when others cannot. That is what you have witnessed." The Queen felt a deep sense of clarity. The man she had married, the human she had once thought humble, had shown her a glimpse of something larger, a power rooted not in technology, not in ancient knowledge, but in human adaptability, courage, and intellect. As the night deepened, Virelia rested, its people safe for now. The Kryvans had been repelled, but the war was far from over. Yet Lysera felt a new sense of confidence. With Ethan beside her, she knew that Virelia had more than technology, more than centuries of experience. It had a human who could think, adapt, and act in ways no alien could predict. The sky over Virelia darkened with the shadow of the Kryvan fleet. This was no test or minor raid, this was an invasion. Thousands of ships, massive and heavily armed, moved with terrifying precision, cutting through the void of space like a storm. The air inside the palace buzzed with urgency. Alarms rang, lights flashed, and generals moved in organized chaos, preparing for the fight that could decide the fate of the planet. Queen Lysera stood at the command balcony, her eyes scanning the holographic display of the approaching Kryvans. Next to her, Ethan Drake remained calm, his gaze steady, calculating every move before it happened. "They are larger than before," Lysera said, her voice tight. "Their fleet. It could destroy Virelia if we misstep." Ethan's expression did not change. "Size is not the same as advantage. They rely on predictable tactics and intimidation. We will use unpredictability, speed, and intelligence to counter them. Their strength can become their weakness." The council murmured, some in disbelief, some in hope. For the first time, all eyes were on the human ambassador, the man who had quietly become the heart of Virelia's defense. "Ethan, if this fails," Lysera began, but he interrupted gently. "It will not fail. Not if we act together and trust in preparation. Focus on your role, Your Majesty. Lead your people with courage as you always have. I will handle the strategy." Lysera felt a deep trust in him, a trust she had never felt before. She had married a humble man, or so she thought. But standing beside him now, facing the largest threat Virelia had ever known, she realized that Ethan was extraordinary in ways no alien could have predicted. The Kryvans entered Virelian space. Massive energy beams lit the void. Warning signals blared, and the outer fleet scrambled to intercept. Ethan's voice was calm, yet carried authority. "Divide the fleet into 3 main groups," he instructed. "One will act as a decoy. Another will engage from unexpected angles using the asteroid belt. The third will be the main strike force, targeting their command ships with coordinated precision. Timing is everything. Follow my lead." Virelian generals hesitated. The plan was risky, unconventional, and required complete trust in a human's judgment. But Ethan's calm confidence left no room for argument. The battle began. Kraven ships moved aggressively, their firepower tearing through asteroid fields and striking at the decoy fleet. Yet the Virelians followed Ethan's instructions precisely. The decoy drew the enemy's attention, while the main and flanking forces moved silently through the asteroid belt, using terrain and unexpected maneuvers to confuse the invaders. Lysera watched from the balcony, heart pounding. She could see the human she had married orchestrating the battle with uncanny precision. His commands were clear, his calculations flawless, and his anticipation of the Kryvan's moves almost supernatural. At one point, a massive Kryvan destroyer targeted the city itself. The panic in the council was palpable. Soldiers hesitated, generals shouted, but Ethan remained calm. "Intercept with Squadron 3, he said. "Lead it through the ion clouds. Their targeting systems cannot adjust fast enough. Follow my trajectory calculations." The squadron moved with precision, weaving through the clouds, intercepting the destroyer. Energy beams reflected off the clouds, and the Kryvan ship was neutralized before it could reach the city. Lysira's heart raced as she realized the brilliance of the human beside her. The Kryvans responded aggressively, sending their largest command ships to flank the main force. Virelian pilots struggled to adjust. Ethan's voice cut through the chaos. "Focus on synchronization," he instructed. "Divide their attention. Use decoys and misdirection. Strike at their weak points. We are not fighting brute force, we are fighting strategy." Every instruction he gave was executed flawlessly. The Kryvans, accustomed to predictable targets, were thrown into confusion. Ships collided with each other, intercepted fire struck critical points, and the main Virelian fleet used the Kryvans' assumptions against them. Lysira's admiration grew with every passing moment. This human, modest, calm, unassuming, was now the key to the planet's survival. He was not just clever. He was decisive, brave, and capable of seeing patterns that no alien mind could anticipate. Hours passed, and the Kryvan fleet began to falter. Energy shields overloaded, ships became isolated, and coordinated strikes by Ethan's fleet crippled their command lines. The aliens, who had once thought humans weak and insignificant, were witnessing an extraordinary display of human ingenuity. Ethan's mind worked like a machine, but one fueled by intuition, creativity, and adaptability. He adjusted strategies on the fly, anticipating enemy moves, exploiting weaknesses, and inspiring the Virelian forces to fight with unmatched precision. Lysira moved beside him, heart pounding. "Ethan, you have changed everything. Not just the battle, but how my people see humans. You are remarkable." Ethan did not turn to her. "Humans are underestimated because we seem ordinary. But ordinary does not mean weak. Adaptation, intuition, courage, these are our strengths. Today they are showing." The final wave of Kryvan reinforcements arrived, larger, more aggressive, and more ruthless than before. Virelia's defenses were stretched, yet the human ambassador remained calm. He calculated every possibility, adjusted the fleet's positions, and used human ingenuity to anticipate enemy tactics. At one point, a Kryvan warship attempted a direct assault on the palace. Panic spread among the soldiers. Ethan acted instantly. Using a combination of energy shields, decoys, and rapid response pilots, he intercepted the ship, neutralizing the threat without harm to the city or its people. Queen Lysira could hardly contain her awe. She had married a humble man, and yet now she saw him wield a power greater than many of the most advanced alien minds. A power of intellect, strategy, and human adaptability. As the battle continued, the Kryvans began to retreat. Their fleet, once imposing, was now broken and disorganized. Virelia had survived not through overwhelming force, but through cleverness, ingenuity, and the human mind guiding its defense. The council and generals approached Ethan, their expressions a mix of awe and respect. "Ambassador Drake, you have saved our planet. Your strategy, your leadership, it is beyond comprehension." Ethan nodded, modest as ever. "I only did what was necessary. Your people executed brilliantly. That is the true strength of Virelia." Lysira stepped forward, her eyes shining. "Ethan, you are extraordinary. I thought I married a humble man, but today I have witnessed your true power. Not just courage, not just intellect, but the ability to inspire, to lead, and to act decisively when it matters most." Ethan looked at her, calm yet sincere. "Your Majesty, humans have survived by adapting, by observing, and by acting when necessary. That is all. We are often underestimated, but we have our ways." Lysira's heart swelled with pride. The man she had married, the humble human ambassador, had just demonstrated the full potential of humanity. She understood now that humans were underestimated, yet capable of achieving greatness beyond what the galaxy could imagine. In the following days, Virelia celebrated its survival. The Kryvan threat had been repelled, and the planet stood intact. Soldiers and civilians alike spoke of the human who had led the defense, and even the Virelian Council began to see humanity in a new light. Lysera walked with Ethan through the palace gardens, the floating lights reflecting softly in the water. "You have changed everything," she said softly. "Not just the battle, not just the council, but the way we see humans. I am proud to stand beside you." Ethan smiled faintly, calm as ever. "Your Majesty, humans are capable of more than they are given credit for. Today you saw only a glimpse, but the galaxy will see it too, soon enough." The stars above Virelia glimmered silently. A new chapter had begun. The galaxy had witnessed the strength, ingenuity, and adaptability of humans through one humble ambassador who had become extraordinary. Queen Lysera felt a deep sense of hope. With Ethan beside her, Virelia was not only safe, it had a human who could think, adapt, and act in ways no alien could predict. Together, they would face the future, prepared for anything the galaxy could throw at them. Ethan, the humble human ambassador, had not only defended a planet, he had shown the universe the true power of humanity. And this was only the beginning.